everyone, and welcome back to Built in the Bluegrass. We are continuing our spotlight sponsors for the nominees of the coolest thing made in Kentucky, presented by Kentucky Farm Bureau. My name is Tom Lawson. I am the host and executive producer of Built in the Bluegrass. We have a returning guest from last year. You all will remember. We have the VP of Manufacturing for Link Belt Cranes, Richard Shultz. How are you?
Doing well, Tom. How are you today?
Doing good. You're no stranger to Built in the Bluegrass. We've done this maybe this is the third time or so. But what's kind of been new with Link Belt over the last year or so?
Well, we continue to have a good demand for our crane products we build here in Lexington, and we build them, from the ground up, welding and assembly and painting, and go through the whole process here, and then we ship those worldwide. And so we're getting ready for a worldwide show that's held in Munich, Germany. We'll be on display over there the second week of April. We'll have two cranes that were built here in Lexington going over there for that display, as well as a couple of our cranes from a sister company in Japan that'll be on display. So that trade show is called BAMA, and it's held in Munich every 3 years. And it's the largest construction equipment show in the world. It'll be probably attended by well over 1 million people will come to that show from all over the world to see different types of construction equipment.
That's cool. I think I have heard about that. I think we interviewed Tente Casters, and they have some relations over there, a sister company, I think, in Germany as well. So I think I know what you're talking about there. That's got to be that's got to be a pretty costly shipping container there if you're taking two cranes over. Do you guys have to get that? Is that by boat, I'm assuming?
Yeah, we send those. They left here in about mid-January, got on a boat in probably early February and left out. And those will be probably pulling into our display next week, because it takes about several months to get all the equipment into those sites. The crawler cranes that we'll have on display there are already sitting on our site, and we'll have a team that'll roll out of here next week to go help with assembly of our booth and display and positioning of our cranes. So they'll be over there some of them will be there about a month, a couple of weeks in advance of the show and a couple of weeks after the show, as we do all the setup and tear down of we'll have basically a building built at the site there where we can host our customers and display our products.
That sounds like a fun time. I've never been to Germany, but I think it's probably on the bucket list to get over there.
It's a nice place to
hang
visit.
out. Awesome. Well, we know that you all were nominated for the coolest thing made in Kentucky. What was the crane that got in that was nominated, and what makes it cooler than some of the other cranes that are out there on the market?
Well, we nominated this year the 120 HT, and this model is a 120-ton hydraulic truck crane. It was developed here at Link Belt in the last about 5 years, and it has some unique features about it. It's a 4-axle chassis. It has two new cabs on it that we developed here as well. And then it's got, just like a car, it's got disc brakes on all 4 axles. And so those are pretty unique for cranes. That not everybody has a disc brake axle system on there. So it really has a great stopping distance and travels down the highway in the realm of about 65 miles an hour on an air ride suspension. So we've had our customers tell us it's like driving a Cadillac. And so
Yeah.
it's a nice ride for somebody who's going to spend a lot of time on the highway, moving between job sites. This type of crane is called what's known as a taxi crane sometimes, because it'll go do several jobs every day. And so it'll come out of a kind of a fixed depot or a yard, they might call it, and it will travel and maybe do a air conditioning job in the morning, and then off to do another sort of job in the afternoon. And it travels quite easily down the highway. So we have one of the best, highest mobility products there, and it can move on to into a job site and then tear down and move on the highway easily and get from one place to another very quickly.
Yeah, I think I'm looking at it on your website right now. It looks like does it have two cab areas?
That's correct. Since it travels on the highway, we have to have a driving cab. So we have a driver, and usually the driver and the operator are the same individual, so they're kind of they do both functions and kind of a one-man job. They will drive the crane to the location, then get into the upper cab and operate it. So it has two cabs on it, and kind of makes it, kind of have the operator. We want to have a good crane operator. So we try to take some of the complexity of maybe driving a truck out of the equation because we have like a automated manual transmission. There's no shifting of gears. He can just like driving most of your cars these days are all automatic. So it's a really good ride for him. And then let him focus on being a good crane operator when he's in the upper cab.
Yeah, that is really cool. I think last year we talked about a very similar crane, and I was pretty astounded by how fast you said it could go. Something that is this big, 4 axles at 65 miles an hour. It's tough to get some cars up that fast, to be honest.
Yeah, it's got a 450 horsepower engine in it, and so it's a diesel Cummins engine, and it'll move down the road pretty well. It usually runs around down the road around 90,000 pounds. So it's a decent load, but it'll move along, stay with traffic for the most part.
That's awesome. What are some of the coolest jobs that you've heard of the crane doing recently?
Yeah, some of the stuff we see it working on is some modular home projects. So it'll go out with say maybe what you might call a caravan of whole bunch of stuff. So a house with two sides to it, kind of they're split in two, and so it'll roll out with that, and it'll have its counterweight on another truck, and it'll be following, it may be ahead actually of those modular home sections, and it will travel along with those and keep up on the highway, and then they'll roll into a job site where the foundation is already set, and they'll put the house sections down on that foundation. And so that's kind of a nice type project for this. One of the things that we see in our economy right now is a need for affordable housing. And so link belt cranes are a part of that and trying to set these modular homes and make affordable housing for folks with the different ways that we build houses these days.
Yeah, that's a pretty simple supply and demand thing there. There's not a whole lot of supply, so there's some demand, and it's making things a lot more expensive. So I'm excited over the next couple of years for more houses to be built, and I know that's neither here nor there, but yeah, I'm glad that you guys have a hand in that. That's really cool. Yeah, so I'm looking at your cranes here. Do other companies, I assume other companies are buying these from you and using these, or is this something that you guys are kind of, I won't say the wholesaler, but you're the wholesaler kind of, you make them and then you sell them to other people that use them for whatever job they have?
Yeah, that's correct. We're the manufacturer, and so we provide them to our distribution network. So we have a series of dealers around the U.S. and North America, and so they'll buy the cranes and then place them with their customers as a retail sale. So we're like you said, we're the wholesaler, we're the equipment manufacturer, and we work through a dealer network. And one of the reasons, that we have a dealer network is because, cranes are pretty complicated piece of equipment. They do travel down the highway, but you can look and see that our cranes do a lot more than a truck or a car because they lift up loads and pick up things and all those different things that they do. And we have a lot of different moving parts. So it takes a good support network of distributors around the country to work with our customers after, the warranty period ends and to continue to make the fleet run well for them. And our distributors do a great job at that. And it's one of the reasons we have to have, we can't be everywhere at once, but we have good crane distributors that support our product in the field.
That's awesome. Well, Richard, I won't take up too much of your time. here. But any parting words for the Built in the Bluegrass listeners about anything that Link Belt is doing, or maybe some products or something to look out for that's in the works or coming down the pipe?
Well, we are this year celebrating 150 years as a company.
Oh,
So
that's
Link
awesome.
Belt was founded in 1875, and this is actually our 50th year in Lexington, Kentucky as a business. So we've been around a little bit, a well-established brand, and you can see our products up and down nearly every highway construction project that you might see going on around the state. Just look up in the air and you'll see a Link Belt boom, and you realize that was made in Kentucky. And we're very proud of that fact, and our team members here take a lot of pride in that when they travel around the state and see, or around the country and see our product helping build the U.S.
That is awesome. I will challenge people to go to your all's website, linkbelt.com. Look at all the cranes, and there's various different ones, and you all should look at and see just how cool they are and how really intricate they really look. There's one here with 6 axles. There's a couple with 4, one with 2, and then like you said, the crawlers that have the tracks on them. So yeah, I challenge people to go check those out and see actually how cool they are. A lot of things, like you said, won't get built without them, and we need cranes like what Link Belt is making to really make things more affordable for, like you said, housing, and probably a lot of energy components going on with the SK plant or the Blue Oval plant and all that stuff. I'm sure they're over there. But yeah, this has been a spotlight for Link Cranes. Richard, I appreciate your time again this year for coming on Built in the Bluegrass and sharing your all story.
Well, Tom, have a good day. Thank you for your time as well.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Built in the Bluegrass. We hope you're leaving this episode with a better understanding of the cool stuff made in Kentucky. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're subscribed to the show. This way you'll get notified as new episodes become available. Until next time.